Hello everyone, and welcome back to another StarCraft 2 replay analysis. This is Overmind, and let me go ahead and introduce our players. Spawning on the top right side of the map on Nimbus, we have Zloth from UNG, which looks like it's going to be Unseen Gaming. And spawning on the bottom right side of the map, in red, our Protoss player, TY Mang, which one of my friends informs me is supposed to be pronounced man. That's M-A-N-G as man. So I guess he's thank you, man, which is very polite. I want to go ahead and say right off that we're going to be focusing a little bit more on Zloth. Just a little bit. He actually saw a replay analysis that I casted with him in it from ages ago. He says, back when I was in the Bronze League and when I was bad. So he made it a point to go ahead and submit to me a new replay so that I could cast that instead. Thank you so much, Zloth. You can see he's going to go ahead and send those overlords off to scout. This is a 4 spawn point map, so first thing he needs to do is find where his opponent is so that he can kill him. And he is going to go ahead and start droning up on this single base. Now, naturally, around this time, a Zerg player has to make a decision, and that is Pool or Expo first. And it looks like he's going to go ahead and go with Pool, which is a fine choice to make, especially if you don't know what your opponent is up to, because that way you'll have a chance on holding off any of those annoying early rushes or pushes. Now, if we actually look at what T-Mang is doing, it's a little early for him to really do anything. Cannon rushing versus Zerg is incredibly hard, and just having gateways finished is, unlikely, so he probably could have gone ahead and expanded before the pool, but, it's not a big deal. If he wants to go ahead and have a couple of Zerglings, it also will give him the opportunity to do a bit more scouting and a bit more harassment if he so chooses. However, making use of that early pool is going to be key. He will also be able to get queens up a little bit faster. We can see him going ahead and making one right now. So we do have this Expo on the high ground, which is where your natural is on this particular map. We have an Overlord out here to do a little bit of spotting. We do now have a scout from Zloth, so he's going to see 2 pylons, some number of probes, single gateway with a cyber core. I believe he saw the second gateway go down. He saw at least one of these gases. I don't know that he saw this one. Might have seen it building. But really he's gonna see that there's not so much any aggression. Looks like he does barely just take out TY Mang's pool. Or not pool, goodness. His probe. I'm so in a Zerg mindset right now, it's bad. We do see the energy on this queen is pretty dang low. Gonna go ahead and add on a queen over here, which is going to be very helpful for getting those injects off, but also for doing things like preventing any air harass if he sees that coming along. Queens are very good at keeping those early oracle things at bay. Not that we really saw any of that coming along, but just in case. Looks like he's gonna go ahead and go Roach Warren. Now this is an interesting choice, because what he can do, he's gonna go ahead and throw down some Evo chambers for those upgrades. So it's a very nice timing. If you take advantage of it as Zerg, you can attack around the time that the Protoss player would be taking a third, and hit with roaches, and it's just incredibly powerful. So we'll see if he utilizes that as well as he could. Does have this Overlord sitting here, so he's going to see that this Nexus is going down. Now, as far as this Overlord positioning, I really don't know that I like it that much. Having something, say, right here, where it's fairly safe, but also can spot things like warp-ins or air harassment, as well as having things closer to the opponent, like here we have a spot that's a little safer, here we have a spot that's a little safer for an Overlord to sit since there's this hole here, but they're closer to the opponent so that maybe you'll see if something's moving out. Worst case scenario, you might lose an Overlord, but if you park one right here, you should be able to see any large force moving out from his base, because he really only has this entrance and exit, and even if he takes a third, he's still sort of stuck using that same entrance and exit. So having something right here to spot or even just a zergling to spot would be really helpful as far as knowing that attacks are coming. We do see him doing a decent amount of droning up, which is what you want. He's going to go ahead and get a lair. He's got upgrades going. And this is actually the Zerg missile attacks, which is a good choice if he wants to go ahead and utilize that roach timing that I talked about earlier. Roaches being ranged units, they will get a bonus from that ranged attack upgrade. Whereas if he wanted to go for lots and lots of Zergling nonsense, probably the melee attack would be better. He is going to go ahead and put an Overlord way over here on this side, which is good because that'll help him keep track of any hidden bases. So having them all over the map would be good, but I would like to see them move a little bit closer to the opponent so that he can see if anything is moving out. One of the other things he scouted is that a lot of the Protoss' buildings here are very close to his base. So really he could have done a Zergling run-in. He also knows that this area isn't going to be blocked if he does try and funnel in and do a run-in or anything cute like that. So that's going to be a big useful thing to know if he decides to attack. And it looks like he does have this lair up and running. Looks like he's going to go ahead and research the glial constitution, which is going to increase the movement speed of roaches. He's doing pretty good at hitting a lot of his injects. A little bit of extra energy there. A little bit of extra energy there, but not a huge thing. He is going to go ahead and stop droning and start making roaches. Now, of course, there are only a certain number of times you want to not be droning. When you hit your max number of drones, when you're thinking about going to attack, or when you think you're going to be attacked and need some defense. So I think he's going to go ahead and go for that roach timing, which will be very good to see. And you see that he doesn't waste any gas getting things like Zergling speed, since he's not making Zerglings. You see that he is going to go ahead and research burrow. That's just started a moment ago. I don't actually know that burrowing these roaches is really, strictly speaking, necessary. He is going to go ahead and have tunneling claws. I suppose it couldn't hurt, but he does know that this area is free of buildings. If he were scouting a bit more than just that first initial scout that he did, he would probably know that the Protoss has a Robo Bay, which means that he likely has an observer, so probably will spot them if they are burrowed underground. But, you know, that's fine. More upgrades is more better. You just want to make sure that they are working with the force that you have, as they are with these missile attacks. Do have a little bit of a delay on that inject there. Definitely want to make sure to keep those clean and keep them together. Creep spread definitely could also be better. Zerg units move much faster on creep, as I'm sure all of you know. So just doing things like having this Overlord poop some creep down here would be a completely valid thing to do, and would help him run back and forth between his base and his opponents. Now, we do have an observer trying to get a look in here. I guess he's just going to hang around the outside of the base. That's going to be fine. I don't know that we have any detection from Zloth as... Oh, look at that! Alright, detection is up. And that observer is going to get on out of there. We do have these roaches. Looks like they are, looks like they're crawling around, getting their buddies all excited for the big push out. We do have a little bit of extra energy on this queen. A lot of that's going to be used on this next inject. But I really would like to see, since Zloth has some extra money starting to go up, an expansion around this time, and or extra queens being built. He's going to go ahead and spend a lot of that money on his roaches and his overlords, since he is facing a bit of a supply block, which is not what you want. But you see his money pops right back up again anyway. So having another base to saturate, go ahead and keep up on that macro while he's moving out for the attack. It's going to be very, very useful for him as he moves on up the ladder. He's going to go ahead and burrow all of these roach units as they head across the map. Don't know that that serves any purpose necessarily. I guess it's Not a huge issue since he is going to hang out and wait here. Being underground does heal units, but he's not really under any attack. So he's just waiting for his friends, the other roaches, to catch up with him. Then he'll be heading back out. Nothing is being produced from him at the moment. Little bit late on the inject. And you see, a lot of things start happening while you're trying to go out to attack or something of that nature. You do start to slip a little bit on your macro. You definitely want to avoid that. These are going to be spotted pretty quickly. Burrow there would let him... Oh, there we go. Alright, come on in. We note that he's still not producing anything back at home. This is going to finish up, and I know I'm ignoring the battle, but I want to see how he macros once he's doing this. So he's been pretty good on his injects thus far, by and large, but you see he's not injecting, not injecting. He's making a bunch of roaches. Over here we see that he's finally broken in the base, so right then he made a bunch of roaches. He's still waiting. There we go. So there was a long delay there, as he was just sort of waiting for that inject. He's going to go ahead and chase things around. Probably target firing this Colossus here would not be a terrible idea. I mean, surely he's going to overwhelm his enemy at this point. Colossus are big, powerful, expensive units, and you want to kill as many of them as possible if you're a zerg, so killing that off is going to be pretty important. Also going to go ahead and kill off these stalkers. Probably wants to hit this this robo support bay. This is what makes it possible to make Colossus. Probably doing the correct thing there. Notice at home he's late on his inject again. We're just going to wait. We're going to see how long it takes him to do his inject. Could be using this energy for creep spread. I have to say his creep spread is a little disappointing in this game, and probably really could use that expo now, especially since he's almost at 3k for minerals and a k.5 for gas. Still waiting for the inject, still waiting. I'll keep the queen selected so that I can see it when he does it. He's going to go ahead and take out this pylon, which is a good decision. Storm's going down. He's going to take out these few High Templar who are around and burrow a little bit to heal. Looks like he did go ahead and do that inject, but again, incredibly late. But of course he wins the game, so certainly outplayed his Protoss opponent. The only thing that I really see that sticks out at me as an obvious problem are things like making sure to macro while you're attacking, making sure that these overlords are all in good places. We don't need this many overlords here, and since there wasn't too much air harass, having them around to spot would have been great, and expanding a bit earlier, but that's more part of that continuing to macro idea that I talked about earlier. Definitely want to make sure you get those injects off and spend any extra energy on creep spread, because creep spread is awesome. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Thank you again, Zloth, for sending me this replay. I hope you all have a good weekend and a good night.